night was colder than it should have been for late October. A pale half-moon hung in the sky, veiled by shifting clouds that moved as if they were alive. On the edge of town, in a quiet diner that never closed, 5 friends sat huddled in a booth. The air smelled of coffee and greasy food, but it couldn't mask the tension brewing at their table. Ethan leaned back, his arm draped casually around Sophia, though his grin carried a challenge. "Come on, guys. It's Halloween weekend. We can't just sit here eating fries like losers. We need a real story, something legendary." Michael, always the skeptic, raised a brow. "And what? You think we'll find that at the cemetery? That place is just old stones and dead people. The only thing scary there is probably the smell." Ryan smirked, sipping his soda before glancing at Emily beside him. She shifted uncomfortably, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You're scared, Mikey. Admit it. Scared? No? Bored?" "Yes," Michael shot back. But the faint tremor in his voice betrayed him. Sophia leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with mischief. "I dare all of us to spend the night in Hollow Pine Cemetery." The table went silent. Even the clink of dishes from the counter seemed to fade. Hollow Pine Cemetery wasn't just any graveyard. It was the kind of place people whispered about in hushed tones, the one you drove past quickly at night, refusing to look out the window. Rumors of shadowy figures, unmarked graves, and strange chanting at midnight had turned it into a forbidden zone. Emily shook her head. "That's not funny, Sophia. You know the stories. People say the graves there don't stay quiet." Ryan squeezed her hand reassuringly, but smirked. "Relax. It's just a bunch of drunk teenagers making up ghost stories." "I'm in." Ethan's grin widened. "Of course you are. What about you, Michael? You gonna chicken out?" Michael hesitated. He hated being the weak link, the punchline of their jokes. "Fine," he muttered, slamming his drink down. "But when nothing happens, you all owe me." Sophia clapped her hands together. "It's settled then. Tonight, Hollow Pines." By the time they pulled up to the cemetery gates, the clock on Ethan's dashboard glowed 11:48 p.m. The rusted iron gates loomed like jagged teeth, half buried in vines. A sign, so weathered it was almost unreadable, leaned crookily to one side. Hollow Pines Cemetery, established 1831. The air grew colder the second they stepped out of the car. Leaves rustled, though there was no wind. In the distance, an owl hooted, the sound breaking against the silence like a warning. "Creepy enough for you?" Sophia teased, though her own voice was softer now. They pushed open the gate. The hinges groaned like a dying animal. Beyond the entrance stretched rows of crooked tombstones, some cracked, some tilted as though the earth itself had tried to spit them out. The ground was uneven, littered with fallen branches, and the shadows seemed unnaturally thick. Michael muttered under his breath, "This is stupid." But Ethan was already leading the way, flashlight in hand. "Relax. We'll find a spot near the old crypt, stay till sunrise, then brag about it forever." Emily shivered. "You mean the one where they buried that priest?" Ryan chuckled. "Yeah, Father Aldrich. Supposedly cursed half the town before he died. Perfect campsite, right?" No one laughed. They walked deeper, the silence pressing tighter with each step. Their flashlights flickered strangely, beams of light bending as if reluctant to reveal what lay ahead. Somewhere in the distance, a low sound echoed, like a whisper carried on the wind. Sophia froze. "Did you hear that?" Everyone stopped. The whisper lingered for a second, then faded. Michael swallowed hard, his eyes darting. Probably just the wind, but it hadn't sounded like wind. It had sounded like a voice. When they finally reached the crypt, the structure stood like a decaying monument to something better left forgotten. Its stone walls were cracked, ivy snaking across its surface like veins. The door was rusted iron, sealed shut with chains long eaten by rust. Strange markings carved into the stone were barely visible in the moonlight. Ethan shone his flashlight over them. Weird. These don't look like crosses. They look older, Emily whispered. They look like symbols. The temperature dropped sharply, their breath now fogging in the air. Sophia rubbed her arms. Let's just sit here. We'll tell stories, eat snacks, and when the sun comes up, we can say we did it. Ryan grinned, trying to lighten the mood. See? Easy. Nothing's gonna happen. But just as he said it, the whisper came again clearer this time. Not the wind, not imagination. A voice, low and guttural, curling through the night. It said a name. Michael froze. What the hell? The others stared at him, wide-eyed. Did you hear that? Michael's T-A-M-M-E-R-E-D. The ground beneath their feet trembled slightly, as if something deep below the crypt had stirred. The iron door rattled against its chains. Ethan tightened his grip on the flashlight. His cocky grin was gone now. Okay, he whispered, voice tight. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. The rattling of the crypt chains echoed through the graveyard, sharp and metallic against the silence. Each vibration seemed to pulse into the earth, as if calling something buried deep below. The night air pressed heavier around them, suffocating and cold. Michael stumbled backward, nearly tripping over a cracked gravestone. His flashlight beam danced wildly across the headstones, landing briefly on shadows that seemed to shift even when the wind was still. Stop messing around. Ethan, Michael snapped, though his voice cracked. You did something, didn't you? Ethan shook his head, pale now. I swear it wasn't me. His usual cocky bravado had melted into a tense fear. Sophia's voice trembled. Then who said Michael's name? Her question was answered not by words, but by a low, guttural sound, a growl that didn't belong to any living creature. It seeped from the ground, from the cracks in the crypt, from the air itself. Emily clutched Ryan's arm so tightly, her nails dug into his skin. We shouldn't be here. We need to leave, now. Ryan tried to stay calm, but his smirk was gone. He forced a laugh that sounded hollow. It's just an animal. Coyotes or something. But no animal growled like that. The sound carried words, broken syllables, an ancient tongue twisting in the dark. The flashlight beams flickered again, not from weak batteries, but as though unseen hands toyed with the light. Each time the beams faltered, the shadows grew darker, thicker, swallowing more of the night. Michael turned, panic in his eyes. I'm not staying here. Screw this dare. I'm leaving. He took a step toward the gates, then froze. Standing between him and the path back was a figure, tall, shrouded in black, its face hidden beneath a hood, though two burning eyes glowed faintly within. The figure didn't move. It didn't breathe. Yet the longer they stared, the more real it became, as if it was pulling itself out of the darkness. Sophia whispered, Ethan, tell me you see that. I see it, Ethan muttered. His grip on the flashlight shaking. The growl deepened, and the earth shuddered again. Behind them, the chains on the crypt snapped, clattering to the ground. The heavy iron door creaked open, just an inch enough for a wave of icy air to spill out. Emily screamed. It's open. Ryan pulled her close, his bravado cracking. Stay together. Don't run. But Michael was already backing away, shaking his head. No. I'm not dying here. The hooded figure tilted its head at him, slowly, too slowly. And then, in a voice that sounded like glass scraping against stone, it spoke a single word. Stay. Michael froze as if the word had physically struck him. His flashlight slipped from his hand, clattering onto the ground. The beam pointed upward, illuminating his pale face and wide eyes. Ethan grabbed Sophia's hand. "We need to move. Away from the crypt. Now." They stumbled back toward the deeper rows of graves, hearts pounding in their chests. But no matter how far they moved, the shadows stretched with them, crawling like living things. Somewhere, behind them, the crypt door groaned wider. The crypt door creaked wider with a groaning sound that seemed to echo inside their skulls. A rush of freezing air spilled out, carrying with it the stench of rot and damp earth. Their breaths came out in clouds, trembling as much as their bodies. Ethan pulled Sophia tighter against him, his voice low but urgent. "Don't look back. Just keep moving." But Michael couldn't resist. His head turned slowly toward the crypt. His eyes widened, pupils shrinking to pinpoints. "Oh my God!" A shape moved inside the crypt. Not walking, sliding. A formless mass of shadow with limbs that weren't limbs, stretching and curling, scraping against the stone as if the creature was too large for the tomb. Sophia whimpered. What is that?" The thing didn't emerge fully, but its presence filled the air. Whispers flooded their ears, dozens of voices speaking at once in languages older than the cemetery itself. The whispers sank into their minds, each syllable like a knife, twisting deeper. Emily covered her ears, crying out. "Stop, please make it stop." Ryan grabbed her shoulders, trying to hold her steady, but his own face was pale, jaw clenched as though he was fighting against something clawing inside his head. Michael staggered backward, away from the group. His lips trembled as he whispered, "It's inside me. It's inside me." His eyes rolled upward for a moment, showing too much white. Then his voice deepened into something inhuman. "You should not have come here." Sophia screamed, clinging to Ethan. "It's in Michael. Do something." But Ethan could only stare, frozen, as his best friend's body jerked unnaturally, bones cracking under his skin, as though something else was trying to wear him. Suddenly, Michael's body went limp. He dropped to his knees, gasping for air. His flashlight lay shattered beside him. For a moment, there was silence. Then the shadow at the crypt doorway surged forward, stretching like black smoke across the ground, racing toward them. Ethan shouted, "Run!" The 5 of them bolted through the cemetery, their flashlights swinging wildly, beams cutting across crooked stones and hollow trees. The ground seemed to shift beneath their feet, as though the cemetery itself wanted to trap them. Emily tripped over a root and nearly fell, but Ryan yanked her back up. Behind them, the shadow twisted into a monstrous form-horned eyeless, its mouth stretching far too wide. Sophia cried out, "It's chasing us!" Ethan's flashlight flickered again and died completely, plunging them into almost total darkness. Only the moon and the faint, sickly glow of the entity lit their path. The growl returned, shaking the earth. Graves rattled as if something beneath was clawing to escape. A tombstone cracked open, skeletal fingers scraping against the dirt. Emily screamed, the sound slicing through the night. They ran until their lungs burned, until their legs threatened to collapse. But the cemetery stretched on endlessly, paths twisting back into themselves. No matter which direction they turned, the crypt seemed closer, as though the graveyard itself had them trapped. Michael stumbled last, falling to his knees again. He looked up at Ethan with tears streaking his face. "It won't let us leave? We're already dead." Michael's body convulsed violently, his hands clawing at the dirt as if trying to dig himself into the graveyard floor. His screams no longer sounded human. They tore out of his throat like the wails of something buried centuries ago. Ethan grabbed his arm, shouting, "Fight it, man! Don't let it take you." But Michael's eyes snapped open completely black, with no whites, no pupils. His mouth stretched into a grin far too wide, exposing rows of jagged teeth that didn't belong to him. Asterisk Sophia screamed, pulling Ethan back. That's not Michael anymore. Ryan stepped forward, holding a broken branch like a weapon, his voice shaking. We can't just leave him. He's our friend. Asterisk Michael, or whatever was inside him, rose to his feet. His movements were jerky, bones popping as if every joint was breaking. His head tilted at an unnatural angle as he whispered in a guttural voice, "One of you will stay. The others belong to me." Asterisk Emily clutched Ryan's arm, tears streaming down her face. "We have to run, Ryan, please. He'll kill us." The possessed Michael suddenly lunged at Ethan with inhuman speed, knocking him to the ground. Dirt sprayed as Ethan struggled, Michael's claw-like fingers pressing into his throat. Asterisk Sophia kicked Michael hard in the side, the blow enough to send him stumbling back, but he didn't fall like a human. Instead, his body twisted midair and landed silently, crouched like a predator. His grin widened. Asterisk, the whispers returned, louder this time, seeping from Michael's mouth, as if dozens of voices spoke through him. The sound made their ears bleed, tiny streams of red running down their necks. Asterisk Ryan raised the branch higher, his knuckles white. If he's gone, then we have to stop him before it's too late. But Ethan, coughing and clutching his throat, croaked out, "No, we save him. We have to save him." Asterisk Michael's head jerked toward them, the voices inside him laughing. His shadow stretched unnaturally long, swallowing the tombstones around them. Then, with one inhuman leap, he launched himself toward Sophia. The air grew heavier, pressing down on their chests like a weight. Every breath felt like drowning. Michael's body twisted unnaturally, his arms stretching longer than they should, fingers sharpening into claws. His laughter echoed like broken glass scraping against stone. Asterisk Sophia stumbled back, clutching Ethan's hand. "We can't fight him. He's not Michael anymore." Emily's voice cracked as she cried. "Then what do we do?" Her tears glistened under the pale moon, terror etched into every line of her face. Asterisk, the whispers grew louder, now forming words they all understood. Blood for freedom. One must stay. One must feed the grave. Ryan dropped the branch from his trembling hand, realization dawning. His voice was hollow when he whispered, "It wants a sacrifice. One of us." Asterisk Ethan shook his head violently, refusing the thought. "No, we're not leaving anyone behind. We'll find another way." But Michael's possessed body lunged again, this time tearing open a gravestone with his claws, as if it were made of paper. Inside, skeletal remains writhed, reaching for the group. Asterisk Sophia screamed, clutching Ethan tighter. "We don't have time. He'll kill us all." Emily's face twisted in terror and desperation. "It's me? I'll do it. I can't take this anymore." She stepped forward, tears streaking down her cheeks. Asterisk Ryan grabbed her wrist instantly. "No, don't you dare. I won't let you." His voice broke, the fear of losing her worse than the horror surrounding them. Asterisk, the entity inside Michael, laughed louder, its voice booming from the crypt and the trees all around them. "Choose, or I will choose for you." The ground cracked beneath their feet. One tomb split open violently, skeletal arms grabbing at Ryan's legs, pulling him down. He screamed, kicking desperately. Asterisk Ethan and Sophia rushed to pull him free, but the shadows tightened. Michael stalked closer, his black eyes gleaming with hunger. Emily's sob broke the silence. She whispered, "If I go with it, maybe you'll all leave." Asterisk Ryan shouted in anguish, "No, I'll never let you go." He pulled her into his arms, but the shadows around Michael stretched like chains. wrapping around Emily's waist. Her scream pierced the night as she was yanked toward the crypt. Asterisk. The crypt door slammed shut with a deafening boom. The whispers fell silent. The air grew still, and Emily was gone. Asterisk. For a moment, the graveyard was silent. The whispers had stopped. The air no longer pulsed with pressure. Ethan, Sophia, and Ryan stood in shock, staring at the sealed crypt door where Emily had been dragged. Michael's body collapsed onto the ground, motionless. For the first time, it looked like their friend again. Asterisk, Sophia whispered, trembling. It's over. It has to be over. But Ethan shook his head slowly, his gut twisting. No, it's too quiet. It's never this quiet. Asterisk, the ground rumbled beneath their feet, faint at first, then stronger. Tombstones began to crack, dirt shifting like something clawed from beneath. Ryan's voice cracked as he screamed, "It's not done with us." Asterisk, one by one, coffins burst open. Rotten hands clawed their way into the night air, pulling decayed bodies upward. Hollow eye sockets glowed faintly with an unnatural light. The dead had returned. Asterisk, Sophia fell to her knees, sobbing. No, no, we gave it Emily. Why won't it stop? The whisper returned, colder than before. One is not enough. The grave is never full. Asterisk, Ethan pulled Sophia to her feet, dragging her back. We have to move, now. Ryan lifted Michael's limp body, slinging his arm over his shoulder. Michael groaned faintly, alive but broken. Asterisk, the corpses advanced slowly, their bones cracking, flesh hanging in strips. Their mouths opened in perfect unison, moaning the same guttural word. Stay, Sophia screamed, clutching Ethan's arm tighter. Asterisk, one corpse lunged suddenly, knocking Ethan to the ground. Its skull was half shattered, worms crawling from the sockets. Ethan pushed against its chest, screaming as its jaw snapped inches from his throat. Asterisk, Ryan swung a broken piece of tombstone like a weapon, smashing the creature's head into fragments. It collapsed, but more were already closing in. Sophia shrieked, "We can't fight all of them." Asterisk, the crypt door rattled violently. From within, Emily's scream echoed distorted, inhuman, filled with agony. Ryan froze in terror. She's not gone. It still has her. Asterisk, the undead tightened their circle. The four friends, cornered and exhausted, clung to each other as the creature's advance dot. And then, from the darkness, Michael's black eyes snapped open again. Asterisk. Michael's eyes snapped open, black as pitch, his body rising without effort. The undead froze in place, their heads tilting toward him like servants obeying their master. Asterisk, his voice was layered, both his own and the jinn's. One more soul. Give me one, and the rest of you walk free. Asterisk, Sophia gasped, clutching Ethan. He's making us choose again. Ryan shouted back, anger trembling in his voice. We already gave you Emily. Asterisk, Michael tilted his head, grinning unnaturally wide. The grave is never satisfied. The undead moaned in agreement, stepping closer. Asterisk, Ethan's hands shook, torn between fight and surrender. His eyes flicked to Sophia, then Ryan. Someone would have to pay, or they'd all be buried here tonight. The circle of undead tightened, their rotting jaws snapping inches from the group. Michael's black eyes burned through the fog as his voice thundered. Choose, or you all die here. Asterisk, Sophia clung to Ethan, whispering through tears, if we sacrifice one more, we'll leave. Isn't that what he wants? Ethan shook his head violently, rage overtaking his fear. No, we fight. We die together before we give him another soul. Asterisk, Ryan gritted his teeth, lifting the broken tombstone shard like a blade. Then let's end this now. Asterisk, the undead shrieked as they lunged. Ethan and Ryan swung wildly, crushing skulls, Sophia screaming as she shoved back clawing hands. The night exploded with chaos. Michael's possessed phone raised his arms, shadows twisting like chains to drag them down. But for a split second his real voice broke through. "Run, please. Run." Ethan seized the chance. "Now," he shouted, pulling Sophia as Ryan dragged Michael's body with him. They bolted through the graveyard, the undead shrieking behind them. The gates of the cemetery glimmered faintly in the distance, almost unreal. Freedom or the final trick of the grave? The gates of the cemetery loomed in the distance, half-shattered iron twisted with age, their rusted hinges glowing faintly in the pale moonlight. To Ethan, they looked like salvation, like the final lifeline out of a nightmare that had already swallowed too much. He tightened his grip on Sophia's trembling hand, pulling her forward as she stumbled through the uneven dirt and cracked gravestones. Ryan dragged Michael's half-limp body, his shoulders burning with effort, sweat and tears streaking down his mud-smeared face. Behind them, the air vibrated with unholy sound, the guttural screams of the undead, the whispers of the jinn, and the echo of Emily's voice crying from within the crypt. The graveyard itself was alive, hungry, desperate to keep what it had claimed, that every step toward the gate felt like wading through a storm. The fog thickened, pressing against their skin like ice, wrapping around their ankles to pull them down. Ethan's lungs burned, but he refused to stop. He could feel Sophia weakening beside him, her body shaking violently, yet she kept running, her sobs turning into broken gasps. Ryan, though almost collapsing, dragged Michael like a man refusing to leave his soul behind. The gates shimmered faintly, glowing with the promise of escape, but also with the danger of deception. In the pit of his stomach, Ethan wondered if they were truly gates to freedom, or another trap waiting to close around them. The ground beneath them split suddenly, skeletal hands clawing up once more, their cracked bones reaching for ankles, their hollow mouths opening in silent screams. Ethan kicked and tore free, Ryan smashing one skull with his stone, Sophia shrieking as another grabbed at her leg, until Ethan pulled her loose. The whispers grew deafening now, filling their minds with thoughts that weren't their own. Stay. Belong. The grave is never full. Their ears rang with pain, blood trailing down their necks as their vision blurred. Still they ran. The gates were only a few feet away now, shining brighter, almost too bright for the night. Michael stirred in Ryan's arms, his black eyes fluttering open once more. His voice came weak, torn between human and demon. "Don't. Let me through. If I cross, it follows you." His head jerked violently, shadows writhing under his skin as the jinn's laughter roared from his throat. Ryan staggered, torn between dropping him or clinging tighter. Tears burned in his eyes. "I won't leave you, Mike. I won't." Ethan grabbed Ryan's shoulder, his face pale, voice shaking but firm. "Listen to him. If he's right, if he's still in there, we can't take him past the gate. He'll damn us all." Sophia clutched Ethan's hand, whispering, "We don't have time. Decide." Behind them, the crypt burst open, its stone door slamming against the earth. Emily's twisted figure emerged, her skin pale, her eyes glowing red with the jinn's fire, her mouth split too wide in an eternal scream. She staggered toward them, no longer their friend, but a puppet of the grave. The undead surged with her, crawling, sprinting, shrieking, their skeletal bodies faster now, fueled by her rage. The gate stood before them, wide open, shimmering like salvation or a lie. Ethan locked eyes with Ryan. One final choice. Leave Michael, or all of them would die here. Ryan's grip shook violently. His voice cracked as he screamed, "I can't, he's my brother." But Michael's black eyes met his, for a fleeting second clear and human. His lips moved slowly, painfully, forming one word, go. With a broken sob, Ryan let him go. Michael fell to the ground, shadows instantly devouring him, his scream echoing into the night as his body twisted and vanished into the grave. Emily's shrieks rose higher, her form collapsing into ash as the cemetery itself roared in fury. Ethan pulled Sophia through the gates, Ryan stumbling after them. As their feet crossed the threshold, the air snapped like breaking glass. The sound of the dead cut off instantly. The whispers ceased. The fog dissolved. Behind them, the cemetery was gone, just empty woods under a pale dawn sky. They collapsed on the dirt path outside, trembling, gasping, broken. The sun's first light crept across the horizon, warm but hollow. They had made it out. 3 souls had survived, but the silence that followed wasn't peace, it was a wound. Emily was gone. Michael was gone. And the whispers, though faint, still lingered in the back of their minds, because the grave never forgets. And the grave is never full. Asterisk.